don't know if this is grammatically correct or not. Okay, you got two things, guys. It is not a polynomial if these two things happen or occur. If you have negative exponents. If you have negative exponents, is it a polynomial?
Nope.
Nope, it's not. Okay? So if you had something like 7x to the negative third y squared minus 10y to the second, is that a polynomial?
No.
Nope, because why? That little part right there. That's not a polynomial. So if they give you a possible polynomial and they say, okay, identify whether this is or is not a polynomial, and you see a negative exponent, you just automatically say no. You don't need to worry about classifying whether it's a 2-term polynomial or a 3-term and what the degree of it is, because it's not a polynomial. By definition, it's not a polynomial. The other one that doesn't make it a polynomial is variable exponents. You cannot have variable exponents to have a polynomial. Okay, so for instance, 6 x to the 4th, that part's fine, but how about 7 x to the nth power? Or obviously, what's wrong with that? Can't have it to the nth power. Okay, you can't have a negative or a negative exponent. You can't have a variable exponent. Okay, so those are the only two things that you have to look out for when you're looking at possible polynomials, okay, is those two things. Okay. All right, we are now done with all the general information. Now we're going to show you guys how to add and subtract polynomials. Okay, so now what I need you to do is, once you get done writing this, I want you to go put adding and subtracting as your next kind of title of your next part of your notes. Not the title of your notes, but the next section of your notes. And I want you to put adding and subtracting and polynomials. And what I'm going to do is we're going to do 2 examples, and then you show me how to do this, and then we should feel pretty good about our notes. Adding and subtracting polynomials. So what you'll notice is I'm going to actually draw a line in the middle of my board, as I want you to do on your paper. We're going to go ahead and we're going to add in one format, using what we call the vertical format. Then we're going to subtract or add the same 2 polynomials using a different format. So I'm going to show you both ways. Once we get done with this one example, the next one we do, you guys are going to choose which way you prefer. And you're going to do that next example yourself, using whatever format you choose to use. Okay? All right, so here we go. Find the sum. Okay, class. All right. So the first way I'm going to show you is over here. I'm going to tell you what it's called. It's called the vertical format. Now, part of the class will like this format better. Part of the class will like the other format better. Okay, you're going to have a choice. You're going to choose which way you prefer to do these problems with adding and subtracting polynomials. Okay. How you do this format, okay, is, so I'm going to get a marker that's a little bit better. All right. Is you're going to line up your terms. So in this polynomial, do you notice, guys, is this polynomial in descending order? 3rd degree, what is this? And this one is 0. So it is in descending order, isn't it? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put my 3rd degree term first. My one doesn't work very well. I have no idea if this is the one I... Hopefully this one's good. Nope. I'm getting low on my... I don't know if this is the one I already used. All right, there we go. 4x to the 3rd, guys. Then I'm going to put 2x squared here. And then I'm going to put the negative 4 here. Now, actually, I'm going to skip. I shouldn't say that. I'm going to skip this area because, guys, isn't this a 3rd degree column? This would be my 2nd degree. And what would be my next degree? Degree of 1, wouldn't it? Well, is that a degree of 1?
No.
No, so I want you to leave this area blank, and I want you to move over and put the -4 in the degree of 0. So think of these as columns. Third degree, second degree, first degree, degree of 0. Does that make sense how we skipped that spot?
Yeah.
If you want to, you can go ahead and put 0x here if you want. As a filler, it'll work, okay? Now let's go ahead and put this underneath these in the right columns. Where would the x to the third go?
What's that?
Underneath the 4x to the third, so let's put that here. Where does the -3x squared go? Underneath what?
The 2x.
The 2x squared, right? The -3x squared would go underneath the 2x squared. Where does the x go? Under the 0x, right? And you don't have to really put anything there if you don't want to. But if you want to go ahead and put something there, you can. Or just put 0, for that matter. I mean, you could just keep it, put a 0 there, or just leave it blank. Okay? Now, notice that we have no degree of 0 in this polynomial, so what could I put here if I wanted to?
0.
A 0 if I wanted to. Okay? Notice I put a line under there. Okay? Alright, so now what am I doing with these two polynomials? I'm doing what?
Adding.
I'm adding, so put an addition sign out here so you know you're adding the two polynomials. Okay? And here's how we do it. We just do it vertically. If you want to make columns for yourself and do that, sure, then do that. If you feel more comfortable doing that, that's fine. If you don't need to, if you don't want to. Alright, here we go. When I add like terms, what do I only add? The coefficients, right, Brandon? Yep. So what's in front of this x cubed I just don't see as a coefficient?
1.
A 1. So let's just make sure we know that. So what's 4x cubed, guys, plus 1x cubed? 5x cubed, right, so let's put it down here. Now don't forget, what is a polynomial? It is the sum between, right? So what should we put here that we need to make sure we put? Plus, right? Yep, so let's just make a little area here for our plus in between. Okay. Alright, 2x squared plus a -3x squared. -1x squared, right? Or if we just want to put a -x squared. Now, that means then, guys, you're going to kind of put it like this, right? Now, the book's not going to have it as plus a -1x is it? Squared, isn't it?
No.
It's going to just have minus x squared, isn't it? Okay? So if you want to be, in terms of what the book's going to have, I accept this as an answer. That's fine with me. Because then you're not going to miss your coefficient. Okay? Plus, what's 0 plus x? Or 0x plus x? Obviously just x, right? Or 1x if you want to put a 1 there. Okay? Plus, what's -4 plus 0? -4. Okay, now I'm going to write down what the book would have as an answer underneath it, just so you know. That's going to be 5x cubed minus x squared plus x minus 4. So don't be confused by what you see. They are exactly the same expression. There's nothing different from what we have up here and here. Exactly the same. Because your coefficient for this one is a -1. Your coefficient for this one is a +1. Your term here should be a -4. So I almost prefer this, because then you're not going to miss in terms of what your coefficients will be. Okay. Now again, I really wanted to depth in terms of, I might have done a little bit more than what expected here, but I really wanted to make sure you understand the column. In terms of filling in those areas that don't fit, make sure you skip that space, so that you don't start putting the x underneath the -4, or things. They have to make sure they're in the right column in terms of descending order. All right, now, that's the vertical format. So how many people feel like they feel that way is pretty good? Okay, so a majority of you like that way. I'm going to show you what we call the horizontal format now, using the same exact, oops, I can spell, I've got my Z. I'm going to use the horizontal format now. Okay, in this format, you are going to be grouping together your like terms. All right, so here again is the problem. 4x squared plus 2x squared minus 4 plus x cubed minus 3x squared plus x. Okay? And now what I do is I'm just going to group together my like terms. Watch. Guys, what's the highest degree? Oh, shoot. Oh, that's supposed to be third. There we go. All right, what's the highest degree monomial in this term? In this polynomial?
Degree 3.
4x to the what, guys?
4 to the
to the third, right? I want you to put that down, and I want you to group together. Is there another x to the third over here? Degree of 3?
Yeah.
What is it? Just x to the third, right? So you group together your x to the third terms. So I'm going to group together those. I'm going to cross them off as I use them. Plus, what do you notice is the next highest degree in this polynomial? 2x what? 2x squared, right? Is there a square term over here? Or degree of 2? Is there a negative 3x squared? Okay, so I'm going to cross off those. And then, what do you notice will be coming next? When I put the negative 4 next or the x next? The x, because I have to go highest degree to lowest degree. So plus x. And lastly, minus 4. So watch. What's 4x cubed plus 1x cubed? 5x cubed, right? Plus, what's 2x squared plus a negative 3x squared? Negative x squared, negative 1x squared, yep. Plus x minus 4. So really, essentially it's saying 5x squared, or 5x cubed minus x squared plus x minus 4. Do I get exactly the same answer for both ways, no matter which way I do it? Yep. So again, it does not make a difference which way you prefer. I actually prefer this way, because all I'm doing is grouping together my like terms, my x to the thirds, my x squareds, my x and my, so my degree of 3, my degree of 2 is my degree of 1, and my degree of 0. And then I just add them together. If you feel more comfortable, whatever way you feel more comfortable, does everybody have a way that they feel more comfortable in mind? So I want you to try, so a couple of you like this way better. Okay, I want you to try this one by yourself, using whatever format you choose to use. Okay, let's try this one. Let's say you do. Now, I'm actually going to give you a subtraction one, but we're going to set it up differently. Then we're going to change it from subtraction to addition together. Then you can try your format you want to use. So here's the one I want you to use. Try. Okay? You're going to do this one on your paper. 4x squared, and I'm going to write up on the board again when I erase the board. Minus 3x plus 5 minus 3x squared minus x minus 8. So don't start your form to figure out your format yet. What I want to do right now, guys, I don't like the subtraction here. I'd rather change it to what? Addition. So what we're going to do, and I want you to do this in all your homework ones, I want you to change all subtraction to adding the opposite. Now, adding the opposite of what? Nothing changes in the first parentheses, only after the subtraction sign, because you're changing to subtracting all these to adding all their opposites. So change this to a plus, and change all of these to their opposite. This becomes a what? A negative. This becomes a positive. This becomes a positive. Now, I want you to figure out which format to use. In a couple minutes, I'll give you what the answer is. Okay, so go ahead.
What about the other side? Do you have to change those too?
No. Bailey, when you change from any subtraction to adding the opposite, I'm subtracting this whole polynomial from this one. So because I'm subtracting this from this one, if I want to change this to adding the opposite, I'm only adding the opposite of the one I'm subtracting from the first. The first one does not get changed at all. Never gets touched. It's the one I'm subtracting from the original. Okay, so this becomes plus a negative of only the second polynomial, never the first. Okay? Good question, though. Go ahead and try that one, and we'll see how you did.